World Rugby Rankings for Monday the 15th of February 2021 are out. Not too much movement this time, to be fair, because we only had the 3 games at the weekend, and one of those games didn't see any points exchanged, so it's only really the 2 games that see changes. But you got 4 teams on the move. I'll go through those ones quickly, and you guys can let me know your thoughts on how these rank compared to potential actual world rankings. But yeah, it's still a weird one. I know people will think about the South Africans as number 1 on 94.2. God, they're so far ahead of everybody else. They're just so far ahead. And when you watch some of the errors and whatnot in Super Rugby Unlocked, you might think to yourself, man, how can the South Africans be number 1? This is not right. But then you go back and watch the 2019 World Cup final, and then you might change your mind. That's kind of where I'm at. Obviously, I just want to see the Springboks play, man. I just want to see them play. It's a pandemic, so what are you going to do? That is what it is. I'm literally at home with my bloody kids out there, lovely kids, in the other room. They're making an awful mess with stuff everywhere. People are losing their jobs, and rugby is down the pecking order of things, so the South African guys haven't been able to travel. That's just one of those things, man. It's beyond their control as well. But yeah, let's hope 2021 is the year we get to see the number 1 team get a few games. All Blacks are still in second. Remember, after England lost at home to Scotland, the All Blacks jumped up a spot without playing a game recently, and England are still in third. Despite the fact that they beat Italy, their number has not changed because the distance between them and Italy is just too much. France got a good win over in Ireland, and you might be asking, how have they not gone up? Well, they have. I've written in blue and green, so maybe that's not that clear on the screen, but France's score is in green because they've gone up. Blue is kind of unchanged, and red is for down. So they're on 86.42. Last week, they were on 85.3, so they have gone up. So they're closing in on England. If they can finish the Six Nations pretty strongly, they could certainly go into the top 3. Australia, again, unchanged, but have gone up because Ireland have gone down. Australia on 83.08. So there's a bit of a gap between these two. These kind of 3 are all much of a muchness, and there's a huge gap to South Africa. Ireland are down to 82.31. Last week they were on 83.42. So it's kind of reminiscent in 2021 anyway. I know it's only 2 games, but it's a little bit reminiscent of Wales's fall under Pivac in 2020, right? Wales kind of started up here and just slowly made their way to that side of the board. Now, happily for Wales, that's a bit of a reversal at the moment. But anyway, again, it's only 2 games in. And they've still got a game against Italy to maybe sharpen up. But Ireland are down to 6th, which is the lowest they've been for a while. Wales, like I mentioned, up to 82.11, so that brings them back onto this side of the board. They swap places with Scotland. Wales were on 80.59 last week, so it's a nice couple of ranking points up for them. Scotland, like I mentioned, easy come, easy go. They're down onto 8th spot, 81.29. Last week was 82.82. So Scotland were looking at getting into this territory, and then it's just gone back a step, which is unfortunate for them. But man, that was a tough game. Very entertaining game. If you're not watching the Six Nations, that's certainly one that's worth a watch. All these teams, barring Italy, haven't played. Argentina, Japan, Fiji, Georgia, and Tonga, they're all from 80 down to 71. So a bit of a split with Georgia and Fiji there. And then Italy's rounding us out at 14th. Remember, Italy didn't move despite the loss to England on points. However, next week we do see Ireland take on Italy. And if Italy beat Ireland, they could actually jump up to 12th. Now, I don't think Ireland's quite in that position yet. I still think Ireland will be backing themselves in 2 weeks' time to go and do a job over Italy. I've been talking to a few people, especially some of the guys on Patreon, about it, but Andy Farrell's kind of got that choice whether to play the young guys, hoping that they should still be able to do a job over Italy, even if they're inexperienced, or still play the old guard and maybe hope that they sharpen up a little bit, because they've not been far off the pace. I mean, you could argue they have been if you look at their attack and say it's been blunt, as some people have called it. But in terms of the scorelines, they've not been that far away. So Andy Farrell, maybe in terms of his own job security, just plays the old boys to get a good win. I hope he still gives some of the young guys a go. I'm not holding my breath, but anyway. And Italy, they are playing the young guys. They are in that mode, so they just need to have a crack And eventually they're going to pick up a win somewhere. It's been almost 30 games in a row. So, but yeah, if Italy beat Ireland, they could go up to 12th. And actually, Ireland will gain some points if they beat Italy. The gap is close enough that they won't gain much. I think if they get a small win, they'll gain like 0.1. And if they get a big win, it'll be like 0.2. So it's not going to be a lot. But Ireland could gain if they get a big win or even a small win. Interestingly, though, if Italy lose, they could drop below Samoa, who's just behind them or haven't got on the board. So if Italy lose that one and I do another rankings video, they're probably not going to be represented on the top 14 teams anyway. So, yeah. Wales, they could go up to 5th if they beat England. England can't go past New Zealand even if they beat Wales. They could get very close, but they could drop below France if they lose their game. So that Wales-England game in a couple of weeks' time looks like a very, very tasty one. I mean, Wales against England is always going to be interesting, but a bit of extra spice to be added to it. And a win is not going to be enough for France in their game against Scotland to overtake England unless England lose it. So if England get the win, then France will still be in 3rd. But Scotland, I think, is in a position to actually jump because there's a bit of a log jam here. Scotland could actually jump up to around like 4th or 5th, depending on how many points they win by, assuming they can beat France. But that's not going to be an easy game with the form that the French are in. But yeah, those are the world rankings as of the 15th of February 2021. Like I said, I still want to see the Springboks play ASAP. I'm sure all South African fans in agreement as well that they would love to see their team play. It's been a long time. But yeah, that's just the situation the world is in at the moment. All Blacks and Wallabies fans, we've still got a while to wait, but we do have Super Rugby AU. I've started a Super Brew pool for that if you guys want to join in. And Super Rugby Aotearoa are only this week for AU and the week after for Aotearoa, so not too far away. And yeah, Six Nations has got a week off, but then it's going to kick off back in a couple of weeks' time. So yeah, there's still plenty of rugby going on. Honestly, when I look at this, I would think maybe like France deserves to be higher. England haven't impressed that much in the Six Nations. Do I know if France would beat South Africa or the All Blacks at the minute? All Blacks didn't have their best campaign last year, so I would say it would be a pretty tight game. Ireland, as I said, this year, only 2 games, but they haven't looked quite there yet. They do look a little bit behind. The Pumas got a big win over the All Blacks last year. They could probably be a bit higher, but remember they also had, they only got was it 1 win over the All Blacks? A couple of draws against the Aussies. So it's really hard to rank them. Italy is always the one team that should obviously be a lot higher. Maybe Fiji as well, but who would they be higher than? Japan? That'd be a good game at the moment, but they're not playing. So anyway, that is what it is. You guys let me know your thoughts. As I said, Super Brew pool for Aotearoa is coming. Super Brew pool for AU is already open. And yeah, lots of rugby to come, assuming COVID cases are still under control. We'll see. You guys take care. Talk to you again soon. See you later.